Today I want to cover some of the things offered at Real. I'm going to go through a little bit of everything that's covered there, or most of the things that are covered there anyway. I'm going to do my best to cover it all, but I really want to touch on a few things that were important to me. I think at a company like this, there are so many offerings that if you focus on everything, you can kind of lose sight of what's important. So I do want to drill down a little bit on some of the things that were a little bit more important to me, and you may have some other things that you liked more about what we talk about today. Number one, I'm going to get right into the splits. So I came from a firm where my splits were a good bit higher. Here at Real, they are 85-15. They are no monthly fees, and you cap at $12,000. Now, at a previous firm, the splits were higher, the cap was higher, there were monthly fees. So right off the bat, everything is just a little bit better when I started looking at Real. Now, once you hit your $12,000 cap, you go to 100% commission minus a $285 transaction fee. That transaction fee stays on every transaction until you hit elite status. We're going to touch on that a little bit more later. One other thing that I think is really important to a lot of folks, especially if you're making a transition, or really if you don't sell a lot of homes, but even if you do sell a lot of homes and you're making that transition, there's some small fees involved. A $249 joining fee. A lot of companies or brokers charge a monthly fee. The thing that was really important to me is Real doesn't do that. They do have a $750 annual fee, but that is taken out over the course of your first 3 transactions. If you're having slow months or trying to figure out that transition, there's not money coming out before you're even making money. It comes out of your first 3 transactions. I thought that was great. Now, if you happen to be a team leader, plan on joining a team, or already on a team, there's a slightly different model. With that, the team leader has a $12,000 cap. Team agents have a $6,000 cap. That's for your standard team. There is a higher level of team, which actually has a reduced there down to a $4,000 cap. We'll talk about that at a later date if you're interested, if you qualify for that sort of thing. So the second thing that really brought me to Real was the opportunity to build wealth. That is so important to me. We have the opportunity to purchase through our stock purchase plan up to 5% of each commission with a 10% bonus, or once we've capped, we can purchase up to 10% of each commission with a 15% bonus. Pretty big deal for me. I mentioned elite agent opportunities earlier. What that is if you qualify, if you get to a production level where you qualify for elite agent, you not only get your $12,000 back that you contributed, your cap, right? You actually get $16,000 back in stock. Here's a really cool kicker for that. If you want to contribute and teach monthly, you can actually get an additional $8,000. So that adds up to a total of $24,000 you could possibly be getting back in stock from Real. Really, 2 other reasons that I'm going to kind of combine into one is the technology as well as the education and training. So the technology is pretty amazing with our own app. You might have ChatGPT, but we have Leo. Leo is a really cool AI that helps guide us through technical support, contract questions, getting us in touch with brokers, or potentially answering the broker questions even before we need to speak with a broker. Developing social media materials for our listings, flyers, brochures, things like that. Pretty awesome tool. Couple that with the Real Academy training, which is they're live trainings. They are pre-recorded, or trainings that were live that you missed last week because you were doing actual business. I can sit and do my work, do prospecting, do administrative work, and listen to trainings that have been going on. People that are producing at a very high level, doing things that I'm not so great at across this country, and telling me the actionable secrets behind what they're really doing, what's driving their business. That is crazy. Now, one of the last things, some people's favorite, some people don't love this, right, is the revenue share. I think it's fantastic. I am not a recruiter. However, I have friends that I work with and colleagues who have worked with over the years, or who I may do a deal with now, that say, hey, tell me about Real Broker. I see a lot of people going there. So even if you're not the recruiting type, it can be very beneficial. Revenue share is free income. This is passive income. This is money that shows up at my door. Well, nobody's writing checks and sending them to me anymore. It's money that shows up in my account for doing nothing more than selling real estate. Maybe a friend calls and says, hey, why'd you go to that company? Or, I've heard about this company. Tell me more about them. They decide it sounds like a great idea, and they sign up, put your name down For everyone that puts my name down, it's $4,000 a year for a producing agent, someone that ends up capping. We can get into the details a little bit later, but it's just a great opportunity for that additional stream of income. Some people, that's what they do pretty much full time, is just go recruiting. I'm not a recruiter. I'm a team leader. I'm a real estate agent. I'm in the selling houses business, but it's really cool when someone I know comes aboard, puts my name down, and I start making free money for it. It's also really cool when someone they know puts their name down and now they start making passive income. I make passive income. I may not even know that person. That's pretty awesome. I should say awesome and cool one more time. So all of these forms of residual or passive income these have been life-changing for me. These are things that are not offered everywhere, and very few places, as a matter of fact, offer something like this. I've been at places that I've worked for 12 years. I was someone's top producer for 12 years, and the day that I left was it. I left with what I had in my pockets, and there was nothing more. Now that I've reached these models and understand these models, first of all, there's no turning back. I'll never go back to a traditional model once you really start to see it. And I think once upon a time it was a little bit taboo. People, almost felt like it was too good to be true, or there were some things in there that seemed hokey. But over time now, I think a lot of people have started to see it, and it's catching on. I think the days of the traditional brokers are numbered. I think as agents start to realize that there are brokers out there that are kind of spreading the wealth around and you can get a piece of it, I think it's hard to unsee. So if you've seen this, if you'd like to chat, I'd love to hear from you. Hit subscribe or just shoot me a DM.